Joining me now, I'm delighted to welcome the former political editor of The Sun's political columnist, Trevor Kavanagh. Hello, Trevor.
Hello, Mark.
Trevor, I wish I was speaking to you under happier circumstances. I'm sure, and I would imagine, that you knew David very well.
Yes, and the tributes that have been paid to him are absolutely spot on. He was a very kind and decent man, and his USP was that smile. Every single photograph that has ever been published that I've seen of David, he always had this broad smile, and it was the way he was when I first met him. We both arrived in Westminster at the same time in June 1983 after the Thatcher landslide election. He, as the new MP and as known then as Basildon Man, he was the poster boy of the Thatcher landslide. He was an absolutely perfect fit for Westminster, but always affable, always friendly, always ready to talk. And the loss, I think, is absolutely appalling. And the tragedy, not just for him and his family, which is, of course, enormous, but for politics and for the British society that we know.
Most certainly. And he was a very skillful political operator. I mean, those victories at the elections of 87 and 92 were against the political odds.
All of them were. In fact, he was, in a way, a symbiotic relationship between him and me and the Sun, because he attributed his success and his victories to Sun readers who moved in his direction. This was the very beginning of the Red Wall collapse. It was the move away from Labour and towards the Conservatives, and he effectively epitomised that shift.
One of those MPs who kept his seat due to his own personal popularity and authority, notwithstanding the Tory badge.
That's right. I mean, he was a Eurosceptic from the very beginning and was very much a part of the campaign which led to Brexit. And he continued that even after Brexit. But he also took on quite unpopular causes like anti-abortion and anti-fox hunting, which weren't normally associated with the Conservative Party. But he did it with a warm heart and a genuine sense of conviction. So he didn't raise hackles amongst his opponents. And indeed, I think that he could claim that he endeared himself not just to his own party, but to those who might be regarded as natural enemies.
And invoking the word natural, this was a man who was a natural backbencher, and I don't wish to damn him with faint praise on that one, Trevor, but he achieved so much from those green benches.
Yes, he really earned that knighthood. And of course, he may have been a backbencher, but he was very active behind the scenes as Michael Portillo's PPS and key helper. And I think that they got on extremely well together, and he was part of Michael Portillo's success until that success sadly ended in defeat. But he was a player. He wasn't just a backroom boy. He actually took part in important debates in the House of Commons and made a difference.
It's an enormous tragedy for his family. It's a tragedy for the country, potentially a tragedy for our democracy, Trevor. It has echoes of the murder of Joe Cox 5 years ago. Do you think that, I don't know, that the role of politicians will change in the months and years to come as a result of this second murder of an MP?
I think inevitably, Mark. I think that what we're seeing over recent years, and I think nothing like this could have been imagined, certainly not 3 attacks on members of Parliament in their constituencies in the space of less than 20 years. Nothing could have been imagined like that 20 years previously, or even a few years previously. And yet this is now becoming almost routine. And it's not just members of Parliament, which is bad enough. It's ordinary members of the public who are being slaughtered in the streets and in the parks by people with knives, and almost entirely motiveless, although we don't know about this one. And there is a common denominator here, and it is social media. Social media plus the proliferation of drugs, broken homes, and a variety of other factors which have turned Britain into something of a lawless society. Now, people will bridle at that sort of description, but it can't be denied when you look at the number of people being stabbed for no apparent reason. Young people, black on black, white on black, black on white. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that people are just carrying knives and using them. And a very large number of them are also using drugs. And I think that plus social media are inextricably linked in all of this.